Alrighty guys, we are back with the F22. I rarely do this where I come back twice in one day, but two reasons I wanted to come back. I did release the file because it's totally ready to go, but I wanted to fly it with the exhaust nozzles on here. You can see I left a finger cut out for your index finger to go there and push from by the exhaust. So I wanted to just, it's not going to affect the flying at all because I didn't divert the airstream at all, the thrust. It's basically just straight, so it's not going to affect anything. It should be totally fine. But I wanted to come in and fly it again, just because it's so fun to fly, and we have decent weather too. So I'm going to throw this guy up just like I did earlier today on the first video, just like this with the finger right there, and let's get a good flight in here. Ready? Easy, and it's perfectly set up now. It's got your nozzles. Seriously guys, it does not need thrust vectoring. I'm telling you right now. Let me just, I shifted the CG a little bit, so I just wanted to get a little bit more trim. There we go. Good. Yeah, guys, seriously, it does not need it. Promise you, does not need thrust vectoring. What I did was I upped my rates 10%. So let's see what happens. Ready? Oh yeah. Yep. Doesn't need it. I mean, it doesn't have thrust vectoring, but it has so much authority that, like, you right there, like you're able to stall it a little bit and get that tail slide action. Next battery, I'm going to up it to 125 on the elevator and see what happens. I can also, watch this, ready? Full back, yeah, oh yeah. You can almost stall it out, guys. You can almost stall it, and I mean, I don't know what more you want. You're just gonna get yourself into trouble. And another thing is, the smaller the airframe, like twin 40, 50 millimeter, twin 50, whatever, even honestly, even like a 70 millimeter, thrust vectoring starts to weigh the plane down so bad that it ruins, it kind of ruins the plane. Like, you have to shift the battery forward. And I don't know, man. Oh, I actually did. I might have affected the thrust line a little bit, because yeah, and that's good. I affected the flight line, the thrust line, in a better way. Now I don't have to run elevator down trim to keep it. That's full back right there. Yep. Man, this is a perfect plane. Like I said before, best F22 I've ever flown. Best one I've flown. All right. That's off throttle. I wanted to do some low speed passes. I'm gonna time this flight to see how long I've been flying for. it literally greases itself. Like, I'm not even that great of a lander, and it just greases itself in. All right, so I'll show you guys again the nozzles here. That nozzle setup right there is going to do two things. It keeps the thrust line straight, it doesn't constrict it, and it allows for your index finger to go in there without an issue, and it opens the thrust tube. So I didn't want to constrict it at all because thrust and performance is always going to outweigh aesthetics for me. So I would rather have a good flying plane than a scale aesthetically pleasing plane. So all right, I'm gonna swap the batteries out real quick for you. That was a pretty perfect CG. I had it right on the front of the nubs, or like one finger in front of the nubs, basically. All right, let me plug this guy in. A little tricky to plug in. All right, let me try this way here. There we go. You gotta hold it, because it's such a tight fit in here, you gotta hold it here like this and plug it in this way. There we go. Okay. All right. Let's check the CG. Now this is back a little bit, but it's back a little bit, but it's still in front of the CG nubs. I moved it 8 millimeters forward. And I measured it. I measured it on my finger. So it's gonna be dead on. Either way, it's still gonna fly fine. But I checked it and it's good. All right. What else? What else did I want? Oh yeah, and these thrust, I keep saying thrust nozzles. The nozzles are going to be printed into the last section, so you guys are not going to have to worry about gluing anything on. It's literally just going to print. Do a full stop. Oh, I'm such an idiot. I forgot to I'm gonna bring it in. I forgot to change the what do you call it? The elevator. I want to change the elevator. I want to change it up. Still right next bow. Oh, aileron is fine. I'm actually gonna go servo setup, travel. I'm gonna go to 115. Okay. So I added, let me make sure it's even. And it is, okay. So I added more rate, and in here, I want to go all the way up. Look at that. Okay, so we have more rate here. I'm gonna do a one-handed pickup here. Okay, so we got more rate. All right, let's see what happens. Oh, yep, you got even more. Now it's even more like thrust vectoring. So if you guys want, you just turn your rates up. Whoa. half throttle. Roll rate is crazy. Crazy roll rate. Sounds good even. So this CG is going to get you guys started, and the CG is very forgiving. Think about it, 10 millimeters and you're not going to crash. 10 millimeters backwards and you can just have a more responsive plane. Ooh, I'm getting bit. Ow. Ow. Look at that slow flight. Ow, getting bit. Ow. Sorry guys, I'm getting nailed by bugs here. Look at the slow flight. Look at the slow flight. I don't know, can X-Fly do that? I gotta look for more videos of like people, individual like owners of the X-Fly. Keeping it in the box. Do a little more high alpha. Climb it out, 60 degrees, straight up. All right, probably getting low. I forgot to look at my timer, of course, because I'm always like thinking about other things. All right, haven't had one dig in yet on the tails, guys. Oh, I guess they're starting a race here. I guess they're doing like a 5K or something. All right. I'm gonna see how fast I can get. I'm gonna get my next battery in here. I enlarged this area here by, I think I took 2.5 millimeters off of here so that there's no chance of hitting. I opened up the servo pocket 0.5 millimeter in width. I put my, I changed the CG bump. I put my L's, meaning like left and right. Or I'm sorry, I put an L on the split line of this elevon, and I put an L on the left wing just to make sure you guys have the right wing, because I actually had to look at it for a second to figure out which wing goes where. Obviously, if you look at the sweep angle of the wing, you can tell. But like when it's like semi-dark and you're putting together a plane when you're drinking your coffee in the morning and you're still kind of like groggy, I'm looking at the wing like, what exactly am I doing here? So, all right, yep, this is exactly where I put the new CG bump location. Okay, let's get one more in. I might as well do 2 more. I guess it's using memory on my card and uploading to YouTube. It's free, whether it's an 18-minute video or a 26-minute video, so I might as well enjoy myself and fly it for another battery or 2. Super easy to launch, guys. It's probably one of the easiest planes. You hold it like you hold it with your hand like this, finger right here, and that's it. And you just chuck it 45 degrees. Easy. Easy. I always recommend using a friend to throw for the first one, unless you're pretty good at catching the plane, because you know, your trim, you're gonna have to trim this thing out. It's got full flying tails, so there is no real way to trim it perfectly, because your CG is gonna be a little off from mine. Look at that thing flow, guys. Look at it. I am getting comfortable if I'm doing stuff like that. Seriously. It's interesting. I fixed the thrust line. Pretty good. I fixed it. This is great. It's going to be more efficient now, because I guess if there was one issue with my original design, was now that I have those nozzles, it actually added a little bit of oomph. Oh yeah, perfect. And what it did was it had a little bit of nose up thrust line issue, which I kind of wanted to put a little bit in there. I think I put a little too much for hand launching. And the nozzles actually straightened it out a little bit, where it has what I wanted it to have originally. I wanted it to have just a tad, and now it looks like an F22 with the nozzles. It's got that squint scale. Actually, it's pretty decent. I wouldn't say this is not a scale F22, but it's definitely squint scale. And look, guys, I prefer a performer over a scale model. I don't really care about that kind of stuff. You know, there are other guys out there that do the scale thing and do it well, but they typically need gear. And honestly, when you're making things that intricate and that big and that heavy, it's a lot of work for like an impending doom. Like I have impending doom on mine. I'm not saying I'm not going to crash it. I could crash it at any time. I could do something stupid, one little wrong move, and this thing is, you know, confetti. So that's my theory on this. Look at the slow high alpha. I could have just crashed it right there. Let the plane do what it wants to do, though. When you're powering out of a high alpha situation like that, let it do its thing, let it chill out, and just hit the throttle and let it move forward. Don't fight it. So good. I'm gonna do a 50% throttle pass for you guys. Here's 50. Most guys 3D printed planes fly that speed at full throttle. That's 50. You can cruise around for probably 4 minutes, 5 minutes at 50 or 40%. Enjoy this thing. And guys, I'm telling you, this can be, I was telling, I send every new file to 2 guys. Christian, 3D print hanger, on YouTube, and then Chris, my buddy Chris on the Facebook group. I send them every new file that I make, and I said in the subject, or no, I said in the email that this is a beginner to expert EDF jet. It's both. It literally is both. And there's just nothing difficult about this thing. Sorry for the same pattern, guys. I have the sun blazing in my side, on my right side over here, so I can't really do the up and down thing left and right, so I kind of have to do my left turns. But a little high alpha again. High alpha machine. All right, I'm gonna bring it in. I actually lost track of time, how long I've been here flying this one pack here, so cut the throttle. butter. It just makes butter, this thing. It's pretty unbelievable. All right, a little grass in the intake. So the fitment of the EDFs is perfect. When you do install the EDFs, I recommend just running the ESCs, running the wires, running everything down one at a time, and then, because it is a tight fit, running the wires through. I did the servos afterwards, after I did the ESCs and everything, and I had to use a puller, so I stuck a safety wire up through or down through the hole, and then I pulled it, and then I just taped the safety wire to the servo wire extension, and then I pulled it straight through. So that's what I recommend doing for you guys, just because it all fits fine, but it's a little bit tight. It's a little bit tight fitting. There we go. The battery was stuck on there. I'm also torture testing just to make sure that they're not going to overheat on this guy, because I wouldn't want that. So next time you see this plane, it may be flying over the beach. So, all right, I'm gonna actually move the CG back just a tad to see about performance with it back. So now I'm slightly behind where my new CG bumps are. Okay. All right, let's get one more quick flight. One more quick one here. There goes the racers. Look at the field spread already. Let's see who's in the lead. Oh, that guy over by the baseball field. That guy's cruising it. Oh man, I could not do that right now. I'm so out of shape. All right, here we go. Last flight. Yeah, the finger in the exhaust, the single finger, actually helps, because I twisted my hand on that one, but it still kept it nice and true, even though it jerked a little bit. Because I throw a little bit like a curveball when I throw. I don't know why I do it. It's probably all my years throwing a football I do that. It's got a lot of throw now, guys. I recommend just running maybe 85% throw on your aileron and your elevator. And also, I have my CG back now, so it's super snappy. Look how snappy it is. Ready? It's super, super duper snappy. I'm getting bit by bugs like crazy. Super confident with this. What an awesome. Okay, let's do some minimum radius. I pulled a little bit to the side. Here we go. There we go. There we go. See, I actually got slip angle, and I slowed, and I was getting a little bit of sliding. So it has plenty of authority. That right there, when you do a minimum radius turn and you get yourself into a 90-degree bank and you're just pulling back on the stick, if you can slow yourself down to a stall, you are above the point of having too much, like, over G, basically. Not over G like you're gonna stress the airframe, like in a real plane, where they don't want you to kill the pilot and make the pilot black out and break the wings off. But over G, in terms of when you over G, you're actually, your turn rate is actually suffering, because your angle of attack is too great. You're causing an issue in that respect, which is not good, because if someone's on your 6 and you're trying to outmaneuver them, You want to maintain 100% turn rate all the time and energy. And if you are not doing that, you're getting killed. That's something the F22 is really good at. I actually heard an F22 pilot say that between this and the F15, he said the F15, you would over G it, the stick feel was all, it was all mushy and squishy. And then the F22, you could just pull back on the stick as hard as you want, and the flight control system brought you right to that 9G. I bet you it's 10. And I bet you they have crazy G suits we don't know about. There's no way that F22 only does 9G. And there's no way that that's where their limit is, because look, when you dogfight, this has turned into like a freaking an aerospace military aeronautic discussion instead of my plane. When you dogfight, the biggest thing is turn rate. So when you basically, typically, when you're dogfighting, you have someone opposing you in space, and he sees what you're doing, you see what he sees what you're doing, you see what he's doing, and you're trying to find a counter, and you're trying to find a way to get behind him. Oh, it's dying. My battery's done, guys. Awesome. And like basically you're just orbiting each other, and you're looking at him, he's looking at you, and like if he turns the other and breaks out a different way, you follow him. So it's basically cat and mouse, you're following each other. If you're able to do 9.5 G and he is only able to pull 8 G in his Russian plane and it's not as efficient, and you're able to sustain that 9G turn, you are basically going to win that fight every time. So so I find it very hard to believe that what they said, I think they say it's unknown, the maximum Gs on the F22, but I can't imagine that it's still 9G. I just can't imagine it. And I think they probably have G suits, and they probably have ways to keep the pilot okay, a little over that, maybe 10. I don't know what it is. I'm just assuming based on, the evolution of all this kind of stuff. So anyway, so now my trim is a lot more normal than it was earlier today with these nozzles. So it's almost dead straight. I would probably, to be safe, just trim your elevons. This is actually still, the front of it is still pointing up a little bit, so that means nose down, but this one is still only a little bit. So if I were you, I would probably just trim it dead even and expect to have a little bit of roll trim and expect to maybe trim it down a little bit. But you know what? A climbing trim, a climbing nose up trim is going to give you the best recipe for success when you first maiden, and a positive climb out is going to give you the best way to get a successful flight. So yeah, I'm going to end this now because I've been blabbering away way too much. And so thanks for watching the video, guys. If you download it, thank you, and I will see you on the next one.